Welcome to our Indivisible El Dorado membership meeting for August 2026. It's really great to see you online today. My name is Greg Bergantz, and with presenters Bethany Fieldhouse-Elliott, Joel Ellinwood, Mary Elliott-Klemm, and Jake Leveroni, we will be presenting our Turnout to Win program. I'll be starting off our meeting with a brief overview of today's agenda. Maybe you've been reading our newsletters, and perhaps you've attended our rallies and our protests during the last 19 months. And maybe you've attended our Hands Off Votes webinar just a couple of weeks ago. Today, you'll be hearing one message repeated by every one of our presenters. We must take back the majority in the House and the Senate, and we need to win big. You'll hear the term overperform. We know that any race we win that's even the slightest bit close will be contested strongly. There will be shenanigans. Our friends in the Bay Area at Indivisible Marin have developed a solid plan to do just that, win big. But it's going to require all of us working together or independently to do the work needed to get our candidates over the finish line. Just to be clear, we're not necessarily talking about only our local candidates. We need to help wherever needed the most. You have agency, and we need you to turn out to win. So let's get started. I'd like to introduce my dear friend Bethany to take you through the next couple of slides. Bethany? All yours, Bethany.
Yes. Hello, everyone. As you can see on this slide, and we can talk about the fascism versus democracy. Specifically, Trump is deliberately following the fascist playbook. He's right in line with Project 2025. He is expanding executive power by trashing the Constitution. He's bulldozing through checks and balances. Aggressive immigration enforcement is happening because he's placing heavily armed agents in our neighborhoods to attack and kidnap people with no due process. And there's pressure on oversight. His administration fired nearly all of the inspector generals. Trump is weaponizing the DOJ, Department of Justice, to go after his personal opponents and even political resistors. Trump is manipulating states into unfair gerrymandering. As he becomes more desperate, he's attempting to end states' rights to determine their methods of voting by trying to ban mail-in ballots. So we're moving into, like, we've been here before, and we won the fight against international fascism then. We can do it again. You can see on this slide, there are different ways that people banded together and moved their energy into supporting the cause of fighting fascism. We can do it again now if we pull together, like we did 81 years ago. So what's needed now in 2026, as we're facing fascism once more, but on a national level, this is now our emergency here in America. It's time for us to respond and fight.
Very good. So anyway, as Bethany said, the threat of midterm election interference is very high. We should not kid ourselves. We've got attempts at voter suppression, voter intimidation, and mail restrictions in red states, with gerrymandering, with Trump's executive orders to try and end mail-in voting. However, the courts and the election officials and others are working to limit that election malfeasance. So far, so good. We've held a check on the executive order for mail-in voting, but it's going up to the Supreme Court within the coming weeks. So we can't be complacent. We have some of the attempts that they're trying are going to impact close races. So what do? Our defense is, as Greg says in his introduction, overperformance. Squeaking out wins isn't enough. We can't let the Republicans cheat or challenge narrow victories. We have to win by big margins so that the results can't be impacted by that cheating or challenges. The margins must be in Dan Pfeiffer's words, too big to rig. The challenge that we're facing is we have 35 contested races out of 435 seats in the House of Representatives, just 35. Those you can see in the blue dots are those races where we have to hold on to existing Democratic seats, and the red dots are those where we're trying to flip seats. In California, there are just 4 congressional races because our 2 senators are not up for re-election. Those 4 races are in California, 13 in the Central Valley, just south of us, centered in Modesto and reaching over to Stockton. That area is now represented by Adam Gray, who flipped the district in 2024. And it's targeted by the Republicans, so we have to hold on and defend that district. The next district south is CA 22, where the incumbent is Republican David Valadao, who sold out his 70% Latino constituency, the constituency that has a higher proportion of Medi-Cal and Medicaid recipients than any other district in the nation. And he voted for the big awful bill that strips many people's insurance coverage and threatens rural hospitals in his own district. So he has to be defeated. We're lucky that we have a wonderful candidate endorsed by Indivisible National and the local Indivisible group, Indivisible La Raza in Delano, California, Randy Villegas. Randy was born in the district, the son of Mexican immigrants. His family owns and operates a auto shop where he works, but he's also got a PhD in political science and history, where he teaches in a local college. He's got a grassroots operation that won the primary for him, and we're proud to be able to support him. In Southern California, in District 45, Derek Tran is the incumbent, and he's again going to be strongly challenged in that district in Orange County, in part of LA County. And lastly, the District 48 is in San Diego and Riverside counties, where Darrell Issa has chosen not to run again. And the Democratic candidate is Marnie Van Wilpert, who's an attorney and a member of the San Diego City Council. Again, another excellent candidate we're happy to support. In the Senate, there are 9 races where we've got to hold on to 3 existing Democratic districts, one in New Hampshire and one in Michigan, where the incumbent is not running for re-election, and in Georgia, where John Ossoff is running for re-election. And then the other 6 districts in Maine, Ohio, North Carolina, Iowa, Texas, and Alaska are up for grabs, and we can support the strong Democratic candidates in those states. So, what are we asking of our volunteers, and how did we come up with the time that we're looking for you to contribute? Well, if you look at 35 House races and figure that it's going to take 100,000 volunteer hours to win those races, that's 3,500,000 hours. 9 Senate races, because they're statewide, require 500,000 volunteer hours each for another 5 million. So 8.5 million. You divide it by the 13 weeks that are left. That comes up with a total of 17 hours per volunteer in the 13 weeks between August and November. That's 1.3 hours a week. That doesn't sound like much, but it's what we need to do to get the job done. Bethany?
All right. Yes, Bethany back again. I want to acknowledge that we're moving away from protesting now and moving into an organized electoral power, which has a lot of, I'd say, tangible results as we go forward. Unlike many of you have been to the protests and the demonstrations, like No Kings, and you've had wonderful energy. That energy and activism is now really needed to transition and focus on impacting the upcoming midterms. We're moving into organized electoral efforts to win. Win is the primary word here. All right. So looking at our strategy and approach on how we're doing this, there are three important aspects to this strategy. Pulling together in the same direction, which we've already been doing in many of our activist actions. Defining measurable goals with tangible targets, and coaching and community. In other words, kind of support for volunteers. There's training as well. Some of the aspects of this volunteerism include canvassing. There's a benefit of training with canvassing. And I've personally canvassed. I loved working with a partner and knocking on the doors of friendly houses, which is our aim here. It's such a positive experience. There's also phone banking. There's training and a script you can use. And honestly, it's very simple to phone bank. Though I've never done this, I've been a recipient. In fact, one phone banker was so friendly and chipper, and he called back several times. I got to know his name, Hector, and we ended up having fun talking together about common issues. It was really a lovely experience. And a third action can be taken with postcarding. Materials are provided, and you can join a postcard party, which really has the benefit of shared sense of community. And you may know someone who would like to take action too and do one of these things with you. So bring them with you.
Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you. So we know the threat. We know what to do. So this is it. This is our Paul Revere moment. We have to make a decision whether we're going to commit. We have to make a decision on how much time we're going to put into this. And sometimes some people can just jump in. It's easy for them to just go and go hard. But some of the rest of us, it's a little harder to get started sometimes. I know for myself, I'm one of those people that once I get started, I just keep going. But to get started, sometimes you just have to make that step forward. But Indivisible is here to help, and Indivisible is famous for its toolkits. We have a Turnout to Win toolkit, and this is a supportive device for you. In the toolkit, there's a tracker scorecard, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more later, a campaign button. Now, I'm sure everybody's going to want these campaign buttons. They say, Turnout to Win, ask me how. And this is one of the ways that we'll have to invite people that you may use to invite people to join us. If you're wearing it, you may see somebody in the grocery store and they may be interested. And so you can have them click on the QR code there. We also realize that we all need support during this. We all need to feel like we're part of this community. So Indivisible Marin has, which we are partnering with, has graciously offered to include us in their weekly calls. They will have calls every week that will create a sense of community and that will answer any questions you might have about phone banking, any questions you might have about canvassing, or even postcarding. You may be doing postcarding on your own, not at a party. And so this would be a place for you to find out, to get good information. It's also a place where if you're making a phone call, just like Bethany shared, you may want to share with others what the good experience that you just had. And this will be an opportunity for that. So there's also social media promotion files where you can go on your social media and use these graphics to get the word out.
So we've talked about voter outreach with three different tactics. Canvassing door to door. How many of you have done canvassing before? Can you raise your hand in your camera? Great. So if any of you would like to speak to what your experience with the canvassing is, that'd be great. We'll give you that opportunity at the end of the presentation. But canvassing these days, you don't get a clipboard and a list, you get a smartphone app. You're accompanied by a partner. You're given a neighborhood to work in, and on your smartphone, it gives you which doors you're going to knock on. And the doors you're going to visit are Democrats who need a little encouragement to turn out to vote. You're not going to try and convince any MAGA supporters or deal with hostilities at all. You're visiting friendly doors, and it's a positive experience. As far as phone banking is concerned, it's now totally automated. You got a phone dialer that you use on your laptop. It connects to an anonymous phone number, so you're not using your phone to call people directly. And again, the auto dialer connects you to avoids the hang-ups, the not homes, and that sort of thing. And again, it's focused on just on Democrats who are registered Democrats and who don't show up occasionally in midterm elections. They maybe only vote in presidential elections. So, but this is a midterm election of our lives, and we've got to get every Democrat to turn out and vote. Postcarding, again, we provide you with materials with a list of addresses and a message to write in the postcard, and they're mailed at strategic times to districts. And we're doing two types of postcarding. One is to already registered voters to, again, encourage them to vote and vote early for the candidate of that particular campaign. The other is our Field Team 6 program, which is to register unregistered voters who we obtain lists of through Field Team 6 of unregistered voters in particular battleground districts. And of special importance to us is CA 22 in the Central Valley, where Randy Villegas is the candidate. That's a district that has historically lower registration and lower voter turnout. And if we can turn that tide, he can beat David Valadao. Who runs these programs? Well, the California Democratic Party has the applications for canvassing called PDI that you'll have on your smartphone. They also have the auto dialer, and there are trainings available for both. You won't be alone. You'll be working with other people. You'll have support. The postcarding for registered voters is through Activate America, where we get lists of voters in battleground districts, and through Field Team 6. The hosts are grassroots organizations for canvassing. That means you might go to a union hall or a Democratic Party headquarters in a particular area, or other grassroots organizations in the location where you'd be canvassing. They assign you your neighborhood. They provide you with the links for that neighborhood's list of volunteers on the PDI app, and provide you with training and support. Well, the workers, that's us. We're the volunteers. When? Well, we're focused on the general election for supporting the Democratic candidates to flip or preserve existing Democratic seats in battleground districts. And the emphasis is on early voting. In California and many other places, early voting begins as much as a month ahead of November 5th election day. So in California, everybody gets their ballot by mail. They should be receiving it in that first week in October. And what we're doing is contacting voters and encouraging them to vote as soon as possible. By having a tsunami of early voting, it sends a message that voting interference is not going to work. And so it's absolutely essential to get as many early votes in as possible. So we're reaching out to the right voters, those who are low to mid propensity voters. If you're canvassing, you will see on your smartphone as you approach a door the name, the age, the sex of the people that you want to talk to, and you will know how many times in the last 5 elections they've voted. So those who are lower frequency voters, you can motivate to turn out and vote in this election. The right timing is early, and that's why we're starting in August and not waiting until after Labor Day when elections activities traditionally begin. Because having repeated contacts with voters using multiple tactics is the most effective way to make sure that the message gets through. So somebody might get a postcard in the mail, followed up by somebody knocking on their door, or getting a phone call, or a combination of the three reinforces that message. And we're looking to tell people to vote, make a plan to vote, know where to vote and how to vote. That's what we're trying to do. And we're going to have the right messaging focused on voter priorities in that particular district, but we're also listening to what voters' concerns are and responding with how that particular candidate addresses those concerns. Once again, the emphasis on early voting. So the more volunteers we have, the more the voter turnout will be. This is called the ground game, and we're good at it, but we need lots of people to get involved. So what does research show about how effective these methods are? We know that canvassing is the one-on-one person, face-to-face kind of contact is the most effective. It increases turnout by as much as 7 to 9%. How many of you know how many elections are won or lost by less than 10%? Most elections, by far. Phone banking has an effectiveness of 2 to 4% in increasing turnout. And postcarding, while 0.7 to 1.4% looks small, it really isn't. In a critical election, it can be crucial. Let me give you an example. In 2024, in California 13, Adam Gray's election, where he flipped the district, he ran against the same opponent in the previous cycle, but in this one, California Democratic Party's phone banking and canvassing increased the turnout by about 9%, the Democratic turnout. 283,913 postcards were sent to CA 13. Well, with that percentage, that would increase the turnout by 1,987 votes. Now think about that. That doesn't sound like very much out of several 100,000 votes that are cast in a congressional district race. But Adam Gray won that election by 187 votes. That's how much difference we can make in one election. That was the closest election in the country. And a number of us went to Modesto and other parts of that district to canvass, and then went back after the election to cure ballots that were rejected because of some technical problem. And that made all the difference. Looking again at another example with Prop 50 in 2025. How many of you worked on canvassing or other activity for Prop 50? Excellent. So when we started out, 42% of the voters were undecided how to vote on Prop 50 in the first poll in August. A month later, that increased, the positive vote increased to 51% and 34% negative, with a 15% undecided vote. So the margin of error, the election could have gone either way if it had been conducted in September. A month later, the margin increased to 57% yes and 37% no. And the final poll in November was 60 to 38. And the final result, the result of all of your hard work, was 64% yes, an overwhelming victory for Prop 50 with a 43% turnout. Now, 43% sounds disappointing. We'd love to have every voter vote in every election. But in special elections, a 43% turnout is excellent. Jake?
Thanks, Joel. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone who's taken the time to be here today. If you look at this infographic, the good news is if you're here listening to this, you're in that left-hand side, that 10% of fully engaged voters, and we so much are thankful for the energy that you've given us. The bad news is, as you can see, there's a majority of people who are somewhat engaged, aware but not engaged, or just completely disengaged from the midterm elections and participating in general. And so we're really hoping that by leveraging the enthusiasm and energy of our wonderful community, that we can start to bring some of the people who are somewhat engaged and not as much engaged over to be fully engaged with us, so we can have an incredible turnout and, like Joel said, be too big to rig. Now, before we turn this over to the Q&A section, I'm going to give everyone a demonstration of the new sections on our website that outline all this information and have tangible steps that you can take to start getting involved today. I'm going to send a request to share. All right. Now, can everyone see my screen all right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, great.
Looks good.
So in the chat, after this presentation in the chat, I'll drop the link to our website. But we have updated the website with our new Turnout to Win initiative. So if you come here and click on Learn More, you will be greeted with an overview of basically what we talked about today, our initiative's goal, our strategy for winning the House and winning the Senate. You can drill into here and get some more information, which is similar to what we covered today about the different races. And once you feel confident in what we're trying to do, you can come and figure out what you'd like to be working on in particular. You can pick one to any amount of these activities: canvassing, postcarding, and phone banking. Each one of these you'll be able to click on to learn a little bit more about what we're asking and get access to specific resources such as canvassing training, as well as links to the Indivisible Marin's schedules for their events. Like, if I can give you an example, for the phone banking, we have outlined the schedule that they're following right now. They have a weekly schedule that rotates which candidate they're focusing on which day of the week. And there's ways to get involved and sign up or join their mobilize events to get involved with those kinds of activities. Additionally, we have the toolkit that we were talking about is available at this location as well. So you can download your scorecard here, as well as we have a link to a Google Drive that has some of the other resources that we talked about, the Instagram carousel posts that you can use. I don't think the buttons are going to be available here. I think we're going to have to distribute those on a as requested basis, but you'll be able to come here and download some of the additional stuff. As you can see, it's just content for you to be able to post on Instagram if you do have an Instagram to post them on. So what we're asking today is that when you have time and you feel comfortable and you know what you want to do to get involved, come visit this site, read until you're comfortable, and then come and click commit to the team. And once you do that, you'll be met with a Google form where you can give us some information and tell us which activities specifically that you're interested in. Now, doing this will allow us to stay in contact with you via email to give you any kind of relevant information for the activities that you're going to be working on. Additionally, if you do have more questions, we do have a way for you to contact us, which I will make a little more obvious because right now it's nested under the, I believe, postcarding. Yes, but we do have an email address that you can contact, which I'll lift up to the top level so it'll be easier to see. So yes, after this session, please take some time to visit the website, familiarize yourself with what we're asking for, and then if you're feeling like you can help us, we would love to have you join the cause, and we look forward to working with all of you. Now, having said that, I think we're going to transition into a question and answer session, unless anyone else had something to follow up on. All good? Okay, perfect. Let me drop here's the link in the chat to our website. It also should be in our newsletters, so if you get those, it should be in your email as well. And now I'm going to go look for some questions. All right. So I saw a question from Ruth Mitchelson that says, what about NPPDS? Those folks lean left and are needed. PDI can identify which lean left. And also, what about non-MAGA GOP who are dissatisfied?
Can I explain what that was in reference to?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
No, this is Ruth, and it was in reference to all these actions, maybe specifically when you were talking about canvassing and just going to Dems. I just think that there's other folks. I'm on the with the Democrats. I'm on the analytics committee, and we've looked at what the no party preference, decline to state people, and they do lean pretty heavily liberal, progressive. And so I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss out on those. And I know the PDI can identify also within Republicans, which tend to be non-MAGA, because as we know, each person, each individual, we all have a number 1 to 100, because Big Brother watches where we shop, where we're on social media, where we stand on the issues. And we've all been graded 1 to 100. And that's how PDI knows if people are conservative or liberal. And so the data is there. And that's what I just didn't want us to miss out on some people that we're assuming might not vote the way we want, but they could. That's it.
Yeah, I can respond to that. The universe of folks that we are contacting either by phone banking or canvassing is chosen by the Democratic Party in creating those lists. So Nelson, you have another comment on that? You have your hand raised?
Yeah, so I'm a pretty skilled political organizer. I'm actually calling in from Oakland, and I serve at Kadem on one of the caucuses, and I also serve on the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. So primarily what I want to bring attention to is that is very important. And yes, everyone is scored on PDI from 1 to 100, but it is the campaigns themselves that cut that turf based on what they perceive the capacity of volunteer outreach to be. So what I'm guessing is that there may be persuasion in August, but then by September and October, it's just going to be straight GOTV, right? And that's a good strategy because I actually looked into the data, and the data graphics are in the chat right now. The redistricting of CD22 has actually grown Democratic registrants very high now. right? So right now, Democratic registrants, if you look into the chat, are at 133,000 voters. And Republicans are actually a quarter less now, only 82,000 voters. So given this, as long as you can swing a 50% turnout of Dems and probably, swing maybe 15 or 20% of the independents, then Randy Villegas will absolutely win. So what I perceive is that once people go on the ground, the campaign will just do straight GOTV targeting the highest propensity Dem voters that have a VTS score of 5. And what that is that you are judged in the system how many ballots you've returned the last 5 previous elections, right? So they're probably going to march volunteers out with people who have at least participated in 3 out of the 5 past elections, just to flip that out and turn them out. And then once they have that ground covered, they'll try to go to the 2s and the 1s.
Thank you, Nelson. That's very helpful.
Great answer.
That's a great answer. And we live in a very red county, Nelson, so it's a little bit different here.
Yeah, I have a second home in Yuba County, so I make it up where you guys are.
Okay. We also had another question from Masha. Is there data on how effective postcards, canvassing, et cetera, are in comparison to each other? I think we had that on a slide. Joel, can you bring that one slide back up? Do we have any other questions in the chat? Jake, did you see any?
Yeah, I do see one about Anita says they're hosting a postcard writing party for those who would like to meet with other volunteers and hopefully provide a chance to get them even more involved. Can we add those parties to the postcarding box? And yes, the answer is yes. We are waiting to get more details on either a mobilize event setup or something along those lines so that we can have people register to sign up for that. But yes, get in contact with us. We would love to list that as one of the options under the parties on the postcarding section.
Okay, Jacob, that was
Yeah.
my question. And already 2 of them, Joel is taking care of getting those on Mobilize, the ones we're going to have next week and the following week in El Dorado Hills. But on the box where you mention the different ways, canvassing, postcarding and such, all you mention is doing it from home.
Did you click on the postcarding box? Or were you just looking
You
at the
don't
top
even
of?
have to. You showed it. So it's the home, I guess the homepage for the website or get involved.
Yes, we will
Yes.
add those Mobilize events and other postcarding opportunities to the website.
To be
Okay.
clear,
And
when
then
you click
even on this, you
on
see,
here,
that's it. Oh, see where it says
Pardon?
postcarding? Let's see.
Yeah. So learn
And it only
more.
says at home, right?
Got it.
Personal handwritten messages from your own home, but there's nothing here about meeting with others. And there are some people who would like to do it in community.
Got it. Okay. Yes, we will update the text here. We
Thank
do
you.
call it out here, and this is where we'll probably add, when you click on that box, we'll add your Mobilize links to this location.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So Sasha has mentioned that this is a great start, and why not take an approach that also speaks directly to high school students who are 18 or older, and actually high school students who are 16 and above can register to vote, and that they would be eligible for the 2028 election. And then still appeal to everyone else. We really need help reaching out to high school and college students, and that demographic that's 18 to 35 is the one that is has the least turnout of all of the demographics that we keep track of with PDI. And so that's a tremendous target to increase the turnout in this election exponentially. If we can persuade younger voters, 18 to 35, to turn out and vote, that would be a huge change and a difference maker in this election. So we welcome your participation and your suggestions as to how best to do that.
Sasha, do you want to say anything? You've got your hand up.
Hey,
Go ahead.
wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great. Go ahead.
So I'm only 16, so I don't know too much, but I was just wondering, like, what could I do to help, like, outreach?
Get
Right.
in touch with us, and we would like to have young voter clubs set up in every high school in the county. And so if that's something you'd be interested in, help organize, maybe getting a faculty sponsor in a high school environment, that would have to be nonpartisan, but there'd be an opportunity to work with your peers to identify those who would want to work on this campaign.
Yeah, I've had a conversation
Yeah.
with Sasha about that, and he's starting school, I think, next week at Union Mine, and I know he's going to try to get his ASB teacher to sign on to getting a drive for getting kids registered. If we can get everybody over the age of 16 registered at Union Mine, that would be a great start. But we need that in Eldo, we need that at Ponderosa, we need that at Oak Ridge, we need that at every high school within our reach and beyond if we can. That, and I bet, I don't know this for sure, but we have a lot of parents and grandparents in our group here at Indivisible El Dorado, and there's probably likely some children or grandchildren that are of that age group. So I would like to ask everybody on this call and beyond to see if we can get them involved somehow to rally around that age group and get more registered to vote and fighting for us.
Yeah, so to follow up, please get in contact with us. We need to brainstorm some new methods because that's what we've been struggling there as well. We don't have clear answers right now, but it's something we'd love to work with you on.
Okay. If I like come up with some things, could I contact you guys?
Yeah, send me a text,
Absolutely.
Sasha. You've got my
Okay.
text. You got
Thank
my
you very
number.
much.
Yeah,
Of
good to
course,
hear from
thank
you.
I think also isn't Sasha on the election committee
Task force, yes.
task force? So he will get information, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so that's what would happen is young people who are interested would become part of that task force, and then we would continue to reach out and keep in touch.
Okay, Jake, did you see Gina Posey's
Yeah,
question?
exactly. Yes, I'm looking at it right now. So Gina asked, are we able to provide data for EDC District 4, the best concentration for canvassing? Joel, is that something you can answer at this time?
No, Indivisible does not have access to PDI. That's only the El Dorado County Dems does. So the the challenge there is identifying places that are have the houses close enough together to be efficient, and then targeting you selecting a target for those. So you might contact Frank Porter on the Democratic Central Committee. He's the vice president, and whether or not they could make PDI data available for supervisory District 4 or not, I don't know.
Looks like Nelson provided some information on CD4.
Well, that's Congressional District 4. Gina is a candidate in El Dorado County District Supervisors Board of
I see.
Supervisors race in District 4.
Got it.
And then Melissa asked, what about local and state elections? Well, the Democratic Party does, local Democratic Party organizes canvassing in El Dorado County. That's not our target for flipping the House. Most of El Dorado County voters are in CD7, where it's a Dem on Dem race. So one way or another, there will be a Democratic congressional representative elected in CD7, because that's the predominant registration, mostly in Sacramento County, not so much in El Dorado, as you probably know. And then CD3 is the South Lake Tahoe, and it extends to as far west as Pollock Pines. The candidate there is Ami Bera, and that was is considered a strong Democratic district after Prop 50. So both that's not a target for our work as far as, but people are certainly welcome to contact the opportunities in CD7 or CD3 for the candidate of their choice.
I noticed that Ruth had a question about contacting Anita about the postcard parties, and I think, and I'm not sure.
So, yeah, Ruth, if you sign up for Turnout to Win and check the postcarding box on that, we'll be in touch.
And I think we're also looking for more hosts for postcarding parties as well. In this group, there may be one or two folks that would be willing to, open up their house, have the materials, and invite us like-minded people to join them at their own home. So that Anita's not the only, well, Anita and another lovely volunteer have been doing this already. They've been active and working themselves off to make this happen. But just in case we're able to spread the wealth and have someone else host, we're certainly going to be open for that.
Yeah, my partner and I are hosting postcarding parties on a weekly basis in Cameron Park. And once we settle on a regular weekly time, we may be posting that and mobilize also. But any folks in the Cameron Park area that sign up for postcarding, we'll be in touch with and let them know about that opportunity. We're also going to be working with the United Dems Club that's based in Placerville, and they have champion postcarders. They've done many thousands of postcards over the years, and we'll be working with that group to distribute postcards and lists so that they can fill them out and then turn them back in at a common contact point. They've been doing that protocol for years, and Anita and I will be in touch with that network as well.
Okay. Jake, did you find any more questions?
I'm not seeing any more questions. If I missed yours, please shout it out. I'm happy to address it now. I think we hit them all.
Well, we just hit the 3:00 mark. So thank you, Jake, for running the Q&A. That was great. And before we say goodbye and log off, I want to ask you one more time, please type in the chat how you're feeling about the midterm election now that you've seen our effort, you've seen our plan, and we've invited you all to take part in that. You know the drill. Just one word, please. How are you feeling about the midterms now? Leave it in the chat. And once you've done that, on behalf of Indivisible El Dorado, Joel, Bethany, Mary, and Jake, and all of our teams and volunteers, thank you for joining us today. We all have at least one thing in common. We know the importance of winning the midterms. We all know that together we can make a difference. Again, thank you for joining us, and please don't forget about our little fundraiser. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg, Joel.
Thanks very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.